Hi guys.
Hi.
We went to go see the Batman. Um, what did you think?
I liked it. It was really good. To me, it was probably one of the most realistic Batman films. Um, he still had toys and stuff, but it wasn't. It was more like what a billionaire could buy, not somehow he has all this
You could just
secret
pull it
military
out of
weaponry
pull it
and
out of the ass.
stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that. It was very realistic. Like you could see someone with a lot of money just going out and doing this.
Yeah, they took a different route with this one. They went more back to like Batman the animated series. If anyone's watched that, if not, go watch it right now. It's on HBO Max. You can watch it. But he was more he was more like a detective instead of
Yeah.
just running around screaming at people's faces. He's got throat cancer.
Right.
Um,
And Alfred wasn't very
no,
butlery, which I really liked because I've never seen Alfred has always been explained to me as the butler, but he's not the butler. He's his father,
he comes off.
adoptive father.
He comes off
more
like
fathery in this. But you
he's
could tell their relationship's not as good as we've seen because there's some tension in there. Um, like Robert Patterson, Bruce Wayne, obviously goes like, "You're not my father, Alfred." Like, and you don't really see that in the other films as much. It's more.
no, and if it
they're
is
like best
Alfred
buds,
stuff,
kind
it's
of.
more kind of rushed just to get back to the Batman stuff.
Right. So I like it. It solidified their relationship throughout the movie without throwing it in your face, and it really focused on Bruce Wayne and the Batman. It really focused on his story.
He's only there. He's only been Batman for 2 years,
Yeah.
so
You
he's
did
got a
not-
lot. He's still processing his parents' death.
Yes, you did not see Martha and Thomas die
No,
again.
no, they don't. They don't. They didn't really do that.
They only talked
They-
about the
yeah.
alley like once,
Yep.
maybe
They
twice.
mention it, but
Um,
it's the cool thing about this movie is it's like as you're watching it, you're solving a riddle with Batman.
Right.
So it really gets you more involved in that aspect.
Right, and this gentleman in the image above us, that almost looks like a leather mask with glasses. That is the Riddler.
Yeah, that is
him.
that is Riddler.
Which at the
A certain form of Riddler.
at the end of the movie, like the end action scene, it explains why he doesn't have his traditional look.
Yeah.
So it took away my irritation with how he looked.
They
So they
explain
explained
it
it
so
well.
it makes sense.
Yes.
He's one big riddle. So he's the riddle himself.
Right, and it made it like it was updated to today's times. Like the Riddler was streaming and getting followers. Like it was almost kind of Jokerish, but it was.
Yeah.
It explained why he looked so weird and everything.
The only
It was
thing
nice.
I didn't like here is when he was not talking like in that outfit or whatever, or when he would talk, he didn't sound like how he would talk. He laughed like the Riddler would laugh, but he had like too much of a deep voice to like.
Well, I think that's because he was wearing a voice
Yeah.
changer.
Well, no,
and
he
now
was.
that we
He
get
was
his-
no. Even after, without the voice changer on it, I just
Oh,
didn't.
maybe I
his
didn't
face,
realize it.
He just didn't.
The actor does not fit who I would have thought the Riddler would have been.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how they continue his story to see how they change his look and stuff. Because honestly, he just looks like someone, like a high schooler that instead of shooting up the school, he's shooting up Gotham.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure they'll explain more to make
I
it
actually.
more. It did explain a little bit why he went crazy, but it's still, we need a little bit more.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed Falcone more than the Riddler. Because he is the like godfather of Gotham. You know, he owns everything. So he's up there as the king of Gotham because people fear him. They look at him and they're like, I'm not messing with that guy. He's got it under control. I'm not even gonna question what he's gonna do. But you'll find out in the movie because I'm not going to spoil it or anything. You find out why, and it'll go like a step thing, but it feels natural. So there's a lot of mental stuff in this movie, and it's like a big giant like web of deceit. I should
Yeah, it
should put
explains how it kind of made Falcone kind of made Bruce Wayne think his dad was dirty and was part of the mafia or the mob.
And
or,
you know he's still 2 years, so you know he's
so
still
he's still
processing
new.
it. So he doesn't know really anything.
Right,
So
so
he's
he's
just gonna
still-
believe who is actually like who he believes is the truth, and then you follow the path.
Right, so he's still new into being Batman, so he doesn't know all of his dad's secrets. And I don't think they ever really focused on his dad's secrets that much.
They did. The
in
only
the
one
other,
that they
like,
did.
live action
The only
films.
one they did was Joker, and that wasn't. That
No,
was a
I'm-
Joker movie. Yeah.
No,
Tell me.
I mean his dad's lies.
Oh.
They
oh,
never
okay.
really focused on that
Yeah.
plot line throughout the movies.
Yeah.
So it was nice they kind of did, and they didn't do it the whole movie.
No, they didn't.
It was just
They-
maybe like a little 20-minute section, but it fit well, and it didn't
It was
seem
nice.
rushed.
It was.
But it made Bruce Wayne question who he was.
Yeah.
But
He
then
is very lost in this because
Yeah.
he's just
he's the kid that you would see, head down, the emo hair, walking high
Yeah.
school, that everyone questions if he's okay.
which this Batman.
And it works though.
Matt Reeves' inspiration for this Batman was Kurt
Nirvana,
Cobain
yeah.
and Nirvana. So
And-
that's why it has such it's so emotional. Because
And I think Nirvana's the only music that's playing for the actual to
yeah.
where you hear the music, not like background
They
club
play
music
it.
or anything like
they
that.
play it like in the beginning of the movie, and then they play it at the end of the movie.
Right, but it was really a good film. It was a little slow in some parts, but it grabbed me right back. I did not get bored.
It needed it,
Yeah.
though. It needed that because all the other ones, it's like go, 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 go.
Right.
Whereas this one, it took the time to develop the characters a lot better. The only character that I felt was rushed was Catwoman. And the fact
a little
that
bit, yes.
she didn't, they showed her whip and they showed her mask, with the cat ears on it.
Well, it was
But
not her official mask.
It wasn't
though.
her official mask, but
It looked like she cut it out of a pantyhose or a sweater or something.
but then
so
they
we should
don't,
definitely see a costume upgrade for her in the future films.
they don't even have the whip in the entire movie except that
They
one
do
scene.
not. Which.
What? Why? Why? You're gonna tease us that you got a whip?
But I
Yeah.
think it's also because she's not Catwoman yet. She's still Selena Kyle dressing up.
Right.
So
I
she
mean,
hasn't established her
maybe she
persona
was-
like Bruce Wayne and Batman.
maybe she was still getting her outfit together, but they don't really explain that.
They kind of do though.
there's
'cause she's
been a
working
lot
at
of
the
movies.
club and
They shit. What was I gonna say?
Brain fart.
Yeah, they hint that she's Catwoman, but that's really it. They don't really explain it as well as say you're gonna see her character evolve the more you see her doing stuff with her gear. But yeah, she does have a job that she's doing, and
And spoiler, I don't know how it is in the comics or in the previous stuff, but in this film she's Falcone's daughter.
Gotham
She is
it was
Falcone's
different.
little love child.
Pretty sure Gotham it was different.
Yeah, well I said I don't remember
Yeah.
how it was in the other stuff. But she is Falcone's
Yep.
daughter in this. And it made it seem like it was almost like a one night stand with the club girl or
Yeah.
a rape case. They didn't explain it, but it was not an intentional pregnancy. Falcone and her mother were not together. It kind of just seemed like it was a forced relationship, or they were just kind of messing around with the club.
Now another character that I did was the Penguin.
Yeah, I love Danny
I
DeVito,
still
but
think
I cannot stand how he looks.
I
and
still
as
think
Penguin.
Danny DeVito did a better job, but
But he
yeah, I
needs to
didn't
look
like,
like this guy.
yeah, I didn't like. Well, he's gonna be coming back, so he's probably gonna still look like he did
I
then.
understand,
but-
but like Danny DeVito was very over the top penguin-y. This guy, it looks like he just had surgery and his nose is a little pointed.
He looks more
natural. He's
like,
not like a mutation.
yeah, he doesn't
Like-
have well,
Like
maybe
I said, it's more realistic.
maybe he hasn't had the mutation yet. So
Well, he
that's another
already-
thing to like think about.
Well, he already looks like a penguin, so that's good.
Right.
But
He doesn't have like his hat. He doesn't have his like.
no, but I think now that
I
how the movie ended, he will grow
Yeah,
into
yep.
that. I don't want to give everything away in the movie.
oh well yeah, but another thing they had his was it Ice Lounge, the Iceberg Lounge.
They did have the
They had
Iceberg
that
Lounge
there.
and Club
The
44, I believe, inside of the Iceberg Lounge.
I was expecting the lounge to look actually like significant, more important. It kind of just looked like your generic club that you would just
Yes,
go
I
in.
think he's gonna. That'll be part
But
of his
he's got to build
development.
it. He's got to build his
Yeah.
empire. So he hasn't done that yet. I think that is going to come later.
Right. I would also like to mention about Batman's suit. So in the previously,
Thank
in the
God
previous
it
films,
doesn't have nipples.
Yeah, no nips. But in the previous films, you could tell the suit was very like someone didn't make it in a basement or anything like that. It kind of looked military grade in the previous films, like
Yeah.
and so like this. And this
It was
one,
nice
it's
to
more,
scale. It was nice to scale back to like his actual like Batmobile car.
right. But in this
Um,
movie, the suit is more realistic. It's like
Mhm.
you can see some of the stitching where he might have stitched it together or patched it, or Alfred, and you can see like it's actually like leather and doesn't look like, I don't know, almost like a big plate like in the previous films. And when he
Right.
hits people,
You can
you
hear it.
that leather snap.
So
So I really enjoyed that. It looked more like something that was made, and he's also only 2 years in.
he
so
does
that could be
he
why
does
he
kick
doesn't
some
have
he does
such
kick
a
some ass.
High
No,
intense
like he
suit,
does
yeah.
kick some ass, and they
Yeah.
have a really cool shot where he's like in the Batmobile and he's like jumping through fire, and it's just awesome looking.
Yeah, they definitely have some great scenes in this film. The only thing I think, one of the only things I didn't like about this film, which it'll probably get better over time, is he kind of, when he was at the crime scenes, he kind of stood and looked around like Sherlock Holmes does.
Yeah.
So
That's-
it really showed the detectiveness, which was nice, but it was almost like he was a high-powered supermind or something. Like, I was waiting for like his
Well-
thoughts to pop up and configure on screen.
Well, he's
With
he's
some of the
already
angles.
been there for 2 years, so he's been doing the detective angle for 2
Right,
years.
it's just
then.
how they filmed it
So-
and how he stood. I was waiting for like a Sherlock Holmes moment where it was playing out in his head. It's really not that big of.
No.
It doesn't take any points from me or anything. It was just.
If you're
It
hoping,
made my mind go somewhere else during those scenes.
if you're hoping for the Batmobile to be decked out in all high-tech gadget, that's not the case here.
No,
They don't even
it's
have
got a
like
nice,
the only
um,
thing that I didn't like about that was they missed opportunity. They could have had the machine guns on the side
Right, but he's only 2
But-
years in.
because there was a
So-
really cool scene that involves the fire. That he's flying through the air and he could have popped the machine guns out and then just started firing.
Right, but he's only 2 years in, and the car looked more natural. Like,
Yes.
if you seen it on the streets, you probably wouldn't question it that much. So it
Yeah.
helped him be more of
Hidden.
a shadow in the night and stuff. And what I also liked about this film, and I know we jump around a lot, I apologize, you guys, but there's just so much in this film.
Yeah, there's a lot.
In the beginning of the film, Bruce Wayne, Batman, does a monologue. He talks over the scenes. And it showed criminals, like, peering into the darkness, afraid he's gonna pop out. So it really showed
Yes.
the fear people have of him, especially with him being so new.
And-
And it's called The Batman because Riddler leaves notes, says for
Well,
the
there's also
Batman.
the animated series that's called The Batman too.
Right, but
so
they put
that's
that in the
probably where
movie
they-
to make it seem like that's why it's called The Batman, so that was really nice.
yeah, I did like that.
So yeah, it really showed a lot about how like Gotham is toxic and why he wants to fix it, and it showed his relationship with
Selena.
no, Officer.
Oh, Officer. Gordon.
Gordon. Yes, I just wanted to make sure.
Gordon. Yeah.
It still shows that they're trying to trust each other. He doesn't know who Bruce is yet, but it's still
I'm sure.
nice.
Yeah.
And he
doesn't really trust him, but he knows this is probably the only guy that's going to be able to help our situation. So he kind of becomes
he does trust
a friendly
Gordon.
kind of bond.
Right, but he tells Gordon, "You're the good cop. You're a good cop." But I also like how it showed in the film that Gordon got shit for supporting Batman.
Mm-hmm.
He did get a lot of shit throughout this film, but there was also
You can't like a vigilante.
there was also some officers that were like, "Oh, why is he here?" But then they liked that Batman was there and working with them. So it showed the two sides, for and against Batman in the police department and stuff. Also, so
yeah, they did Batman and Selena Kyle's relationship pretty good. Other than it being a little rushed. Like I feel like the way that her character goes in this movie, it could have been fleshed out a little bit more because it's almost kind of like, oh hi Selena,
right.
Okay, bye Selena.
Their scenes together were pretty quick. So, but I think that's part of him growing and stuff as well. So in all the depictions of Batman I've seen, Bruce Wayne is almost playboy. He's a ladies' man. In this film, he is not. Bruce Wayne is practically dead in this film. He is the Batman. He is nocturnal. He doesn't run the company, anything. So
he's different than
the Batman has devoured Bruce Wayne in this film.
They show it actually different than they did with Ben Affleck's Batman because that one, it made it seem like he's far in the future and he's done everything he can do and he's given up and he's like sick of it.
Right.
But here they kind of took that and they did it differently. They did it more like he's just questioning his morality. He's been doing this for 2 years and nothing's changed. Why keep doing it? Like, if nothing's changed, well, what is my point here?
Right, but after how the movie ends, like, he's re-inspired and stuff, so that's nice.
Also, there's some Easter eggs in there that you'll find. There's one it's a reference to the Batman Hush comics, so that's also, it can lead you off to, they can go in a bunch of different directions how this movie ends. I like how it was like cat and mouse with Batman and Riddler. I just wish it would have been more cat and mouse with Batman and Selena as well, because there really isn't, like, most of the time in, like, even, like, comics and, like, the animated series, when Selena Kyle gets involved, there's a lot of rooftop running scenes. Mm-hmm. She's, like, jumps the rooftops, and Batman's running after her because she's stealing stuff.
So.
Right.
And she's not really a thief in this yet. She only stole one thing.
Right. So maybe they're going to save that for later,
There's definitely relationship building for the future films, and like I said earlier, Bruce Wayne needs to come back. He needs to have that.
It's going to get worse before it gets better. So it hasn't even gotten worse yet. So, like, where this movie goes is it gets.
What are you talking about? This movie destroys the whole city. It's gotten worse. It needs to get better.
No, I'm talking about, like, Falcone. He's head honcho. Everyone fears him. How this movie ends.
Okay, I know what you mean now. You guys have to watch the movie to find out what he's saying.
You'll understand what I'm saying.
But anyway, you guys, definitely go see this film.
Yeah, it is a very good film.
It's a great film.
It's not
a lot of talking in some parts, but it's to show that he investigates and stuff.
I would probably say this is probably my second favorite Batman. Michael Keaton is still the best Batman, but he's better. Robert Pattinson did a better job than I think any of the other ones, in my opinion. So I'm gonna give this movie an 8 because it did a lot of stuff right, but it had a couple missed windows, missed opportunities that they could have done. But it's a fantastic movie. Go see it. What's your verdict?
I'm gonna give it a 9. I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of my favorite. Now I'm more into Marvel, so I don't know a whole lot about Batman's background and everything like that, but I still enjoyed
We've
the
only
story.
had like 12 movies.
I know, but still. I really enjoyed the movie and everything, so I give it a 9. There was not much for me to dislike it.
Yeah.
So, but
So,
anyway, guys, go see
Go
it.
see it.
And thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye, guys. See you next
Bye.
one.